right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Free. I'm Ryan. I'm the pastor and executive director here, and this is Carrie. She is the associate executive director here. So good to be with y'all tonight, and welcome to our online people, wherever you are, whatever state you're joining us from, or sober living, or treatment center, or your own kitchen maybe, wherever you are. We're glad you're part of this community, and you are us, and we are you, and we do it all together. And let me give you a reminder, this is a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction while creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And there is always one thing we don't do in this community. You can shout it out on a count of three, all four words. 1, 2, 3.
We don't do shame.
We don't do shame. Don't you love it? I love the energy. Hey, let me say this first. As I said last service, someone this week asked me, hey, don't forget about us at Free. And I know I've been gone some this summer, and it's been really good, actually. Let me tell you about where I was the last 2 weeks. So last Saturday, Matt and Renee got married, members of this community, and I was honored to officiate their wedding. It was a great time. And then 2 Saturdays ago, I was invited to go to North Carolina. A church invited me there to give the sermon, and then, man, how cool is this? They wanted me to share about Free, what's happening here. Where's Fredo? Fredo, are you in? Man, Fredo, I got to tell your story now. I was just saying this to Fredo. Man, it wasn't long ago when he came in, his head was down in his hands, and he was like not much hope at all, and then he gets baptized. Now he comes on Saturdays, and he's smiling in this new life and recovery and a peer recovery coach, and dude, I got to share that story, and it brought me so much joy. Anyway, I got to share the message, and I'm home for a little while, and it's always good to be home, but I will say this. In 2 weeks, Carrie and I and Danny and my little boy, Bricks, we're going to be in Chicago because Free Recovery Community Chicago, maybe y'all are watching tonight, they are launching in September, but they're doing a pop-up service in the middle of August, and we're going to go out there and be there for that. So some exciting things happening, but it is always good to be home, and I love y'all. It's good to be with you. Carrie, do you have some announcements for us?
Yes. Thanks for coming back to work.
Yes, it's good. Good work.
It is better when you're here, I think. So thank you for
thank
being
you.
here. And we are so glad that you guys are here with us. If this is your first time, we would love to get to know you. Please connect with us after service just outside of these doors. We would love to get you hooked up with a welcome bag. Inside the welcome bag, you can find some fresh roasted wagon coffee by the phenomenal Tammy Canaday. And all right, she deserves some applause for that.
Yes.
She's pretty fantastic, friends. It's like not only is she a beautiful person, but her organization, the women she hires, what she does every single day here is just extraordinary. So this is just like a little teaser to like go support Wagon Coffee, but it is some of the freshest roasted coffee you will get anywhere, and it goes towards a good mission. So get a welcome bag, get some Wagon Coffee. You'll also find some free swag in there, and then our Connect card. So our Connect card is how we can get you guys hooked up to our newsletter, so you can stay connected and find out who is going to be the week's guest storyteller, what events we have going on, and really just any information about Free in general. Because if you were signed up for the newsletter, you would know of a very interesting, I find it interesting at least, new meeting that's coming out. It's going to start on Tuesday, but maybe you guys are in recovery and you kind of find that getting sober maybe really just didn't fix all of the emotional
Baggage.
I was going to try to find a nice word for it, but it's maybe just baggage. I was, just maybe like deficiencies, like areas of growth that we can maybe reach for.
She's calling y'all a hot mess. I don't know if
I'm
you get
not
this,
saying that. I'm just saying potential. Anyway, there is this book. It's called Emotional Sobriety. You guys, even if you're online and you're not here in person, you can find this link. I'll throw it in the chat later. But it's a great way to kind of take a little leap in your recovery and kind of do some of the interior work. Eric Birchfield, he is going to be leading this. It's going to be in Ryan's office on Tuesday nights. at 7 p.m. And I will also, like I said, I'll throw this in the chat, but it's also going to be in the newsletter where you guys can buy this book. But I highly recommend it, and it's going to be even just good conversation. Next up, we are always in need of volunteers in the cafe. So this is a great way to be of service, even if you have no coffee experience, even if coffee's not your thing, that's okay. What this is like a great opportunity to get to know people, to be the face of Free, to kind of be of service. You'll learn people's name, they'll learn your name, and who doesn't love someone who gives them a cup of coffee, right? Like we all love that person who gives us like our favorite drink. So you could be that person for somebody else. So please see Christy in the cafe. You can email her at christy@freerecoverycommunity.com, or she's working tonight and you can go talk to her.
Beautiful.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Carrie. All right, y'all, the way we get started here at Free on a Saturday night is with celebrations. We start with the good. We lift up the good. We take 3 minutes for this. Maybe you're celebrating a sobriety anniversary or a birthday or whatever the new thing in your life is. New jobs, new homes, new I don't know, whatever it is. We celebrate it all here. If you're online, drop your celebration in the Facebook comments or the YouTube comments, and we'll join with you there. If you're in-house, just raise up your hand, and Layla will get you a mic on this side, and Shua will get you a mic on this side. Let's take 3 minutes. This time is yours.
I just celebrated, I'm Fredo. I just celebrated 8 months on Tuesday, sober.
Way to go, Fredo.
And also, I'm very grateful for my family. I got my family here with me and very supportive, so I'm very happy.
Good stuff, and welcome, family.
My name's Nicole, and I celebrated 5 years on Sunday.
5 years, Nicole. Way to go. Happy 5.
Yeah, my name's Cy, and I just want to celebrate my son coming to church with me tonight. This is his first time at Free. So.
All right, welcome to Free. Glad you're here.
So my name is Mark. I'm not there yet, but today is 9 years and 364 days of sobriety.
All right, Mark. No fronts, but we're grateful for tomorrow when it gets here.
My name's Adam, and this is my first time at Free, and on the 5th of August, it'll be 10 months sober for me.
All right. Pause just one moment. Chance in the tech room, I guess online says they can't pick up my mic. Is that right, Carrie? Carrie just let me know that. Go ahead. Continue celebrating.
All right. Hey, it's Mimi. On the 24th, I celebrated 9 months clean and sober, and also continuing being abstinent from eating disorder and self-harm for over a year.
Way to go, Mimi. Congratulations.
Hey, my name's Layla. I'm just celebrating my belly button birthday on Monday, clean and sober, and I've got 87 days today.
Way to go, Layla. Glad you're here.
Hey, my name is Jordan, and after nearly a quarter century of substance issues, I walked through the door of this building, and tomorrow will be my 150 days clean.
Way to go, Jordan. Glad you're here, brother.
My name is Mandy, and tonight I'm celebrating my parents visiting and my brother, who's also walking the path to sobriety, Kevin, joining us online.
All right, welcome everybody. Glad you're here.
Hey, I'm Zach. The Back to Basics seminar that we did a couple weeks ago, we put 60 people went through all 12 steps in one day, and the next one's on August 17th right here at Free.
Way to go, Zach. Grateful for your leadership, man.
My name is Kimmy. This is my first night here, and on Monday I celebrated 4 months sober.
All right, way to go, and welcome. Thank you, Shua and Layla. Tammy, you want to join me up here? Can I get that mic from you? I'm going to put it here.
I have a celebration too.
Let's hear it.
Our baby girl
Yeah, not
Can I
such a
call
baby
her? Can I
anymore.
call her baby girl? She'll be 15 tomorrow. We have a 15-year-old.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
How did that happen? We'll talk about it later.
I like offset that by saying I have a 6-year-old, so it makes me feel better.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Better and younger, yes. Is my mic being picked up now, do we know? Well, y'all can chime in online. Shall we join our online community? You want the first one?
I do.
Okay.
Hey, Sarah. I call her my little prism because she is full of so much light.
So much.
Celebrating my son Lexi being a junior in high school in a few days. He's thriving in life these days, and I'm so happy for him and proud of his hard work.
Yeah, way to go, Sarah and Lexi. Congratulations. Seth Michael Bott says, Free Recovery Community Chicago is at our leadership retreat, tuning in together.
Awesome.
Well,
Hi, guys.
glad y'all here, Seth. Seth will be pastoring that community in Chicago. Yes.
Leslie Ann says, got my 10-year chip for CA.
Hey, way to
Awesome
go,
job,
Leslie.
Leslie.
Happy 10 years. And Tony says, hello, everyone. My name is Tony. I'm in Mountain West in Colorado Springs. I'm celebrating triple digits today, 100 days sober. Way to go, Tony. Congratulations, brother.
I love how you guys like take care of like every single day though. Like that's so cool.
Yeah,
100 days.
it's a beautiful thing.
How you mentioned like you're like one day, you're so close. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful gift. Christy, thankful our friend Steve, who is going through cancer treatment, has been doing well and celebrated his 60th birthday.
All right,
Good
happy
stuff,
birthday,
Christy.
Steve. Crystal says, I've shared that my daughter is in a bad relationship and hasn't spoken to us in over a year. And she is finally starting to talk to my husband. So it's a start. We will celebrate the start, Crystal. Yeah.
Hi, Cody says, hello, I'm celebrating 23 days of sobriety. My first time joining, thanks to Pastor Brian here in Loveland.
Bryson,
Welcome.
yeah, Pastor Bryson, way to go, Cody. Welcome. Glad you're here. Happy 23 days. That's big, man. Jean says, I'm celebrating Ryan's safe
Me
return.
too.
All right, we'll celebrate that.
I like that one.
Thank you, Jean. All right, thank you, Tammy. Yeah, you can just leave it up there. And all right, y'all, we are starting a new series tonight. It's called Let Them and Let Me. This is based on Mel Robbins' book, Let Them. Who's read it or listened to the Audible? Yeah, highly recommend this one. It's a good one. We're going to spend 5 weeks in this series inviting us into the process of letting go, letting them, and letting me. But before we get into it, I want you to meet my friend Ryan Flanagan. Ryan is a poet. I met Ryan at Sober Open Mic Night. He's at many of our Sober Open Mic Nights, and he just does these amazing poems. And 2 times ago, I heard one of his poems, and I was like, dude, that would be so good. Would you ever do that on a Saturday night here? And he said, of course I would. So we lined it up for tonight. Ryan leads a class here through CARE, Darren and CARE, Colorado Artists in Recovery. This class is a poetry class. It's on the 4th Wednesdays of every month. It starts at 6:30. It's in the big kids room, and it's for anyone. You don't have to have experience. It is free to attend. There's no cost to you. If you want to come and get your creative art energy on, your poetry, man, this would be a great class to take. But would y'all help me welcome Ryan as he sets up the theme for tonight. Come on up here, Ryan. Sorry, I led you astray by not turning it on.
You're good. You can never figure these things out. Okay, cool. I am good at this. I flick semantic acrobatics off the tip of my lips with metaphors that morph like when trauma becomes a sex kink. And next I'm all spitting repetitive vowels like I got some god tongue. And just to freshen up a cliche phrase, love is a desert rose. With too much water, it never grows. So learn when your partner needs some space and then leave them the fuck alone. Do you like me? But wait, the show's not over. My talent's just getting started. I'm adept at likability, and I compliment with the best of them. I know 2 songs on the piano, so people say, wow, that guy plays the piano. Do you like me? I can cook a croque-monsieur sur crepe, so people say, wow, that guy can cook. Do you like me? I own a bunch of books I haven't read, and I'm not nearly as smart as I pretend. But do you like me? Do you like me? Am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? I'm a show-off and toxic nice guy. Oftentimes, my kindness is dishonest. I turn compliments into transactions with an expectation of return on investment. Like a crime scene, I try to bleach the stains from my soul so you'll never know the messy me, the awkward me, the frightened me. I grew up in an angry family and was bullied at school, so I learned to read the forecast on everyone's face to predict the next storm and try my best to stop the winds. If you're laughing, you're not yelling. If you're impressed by me, you won't hurt me. Now that doesn't work, but I do it anyways because I learned it from an early age. I haven't had many honest relationships. They didn't know who I was because I didn't know who I was. If I try to be something for everyone, I end up being nothing for anyone. And a nice lie is still a lie. But I am exhausted with trying to be impressive. Do you know what I really want? I want to have a conversation that isn't a competition where the first place is my self-worth. I just want to listen without trying to be funny or smart. I want to be an asshole to people who deserve it, and I only want to be super nice to people I actually like, and I want to be dog shit at something. Like tennis. I used to smoke a pack a day and have horrible hand-eye coordination. I would be terrible at tennis, and I want to be terrible at tennis. I want somebody to say, that guy is so fucking terrible at tennis, and then I want to play anyways. I want to have an honest relationship where we compare the stains of our souls and they love me for mine and I love them for theirs. I really just want to be all of me. But do you like...
The next time you feel left out, your friends all go out to brunch together and they don't invite you, let them. Or maybe the person you're dating doesn't want a commitment, let them. Or perhaps your spouse does not want to do the 5K with you, let them. Your company is laying people off, let them. You spend so much time and energy trying to control other people and getting emotionally worked up about things that are beyond your control. You can tap into peace and true control if you let them be themselves.
Yeah, let them. Tonight the theme is let them leave. Because the truth is, people will leave. People will walk out of your life and it will be painful, disorienting, it will be disappointing, and it can make you question your worth, and you will have to figure out what to do with it. And when they leave, there might not be a great explanation. You might not understand it. You might have all kinds of questions, and be careful because the temptation can be to chase them. You're going to chase them and try to convince them that I really am a good person. You just please stay. I really am a good person. And why do we do this? Well, because somehow our worth gets tied up with, it gets dependent on other people. And what do we do when they leave? What are some of the things we do? Oh, we start talking to ourselves. We start telling ourselves stories. I know they miss me. Man, I know they miss me. Man, they haven't even called. Why haven't they called? Man, it was my birthday yesterday, and they didn't even bother to send a simple birthday text. What are some other things we do? Oh, we get a little crazy, don't we? Oh, I know what we'll do. I'm going to open up my phone, and I'm going to start creeping on their social media pages. Oh, that's uncomfortable, isn't it? Because I got to look at these pictures. And man, they're smiling. How are they smiling? They seem happy. How are they happy? I'm not even in the photo. How are they happy without me? And man, it just seems like their life just keeps going on, and then there's my life. And yes, the truth is people will leave. They will walk out of your life, and what do? I would suggest to you, you let them. And yes, I get it. It is way easier said than done, but this is about you maintaining your peace. It's about you not losing you in the endless, meaningless chase of their approval. Yeah. In her book, Let Them, which is, by the way, the book this series is based on, Mel Robbins says these words, check it out, see if you identify. If someone wants to walk out of your life, let them. Their decision is about them, not your worth. The people who are meant to be in your life won't need convincing to stay. All right, that's good. Now let's break this down a little bit because be careful here. The phrase let them is different from the phrase F them. Do y'all know what I mean by this? Important distinction, because how often do we say, man, F them? And that comes, they leave, we say F them, that comes from a place of resentment. What's it look like? They leave, F them, man, I never liked them anyway. I don't need them anyway. That's BS. You did like them. You even loved them. That's why it hurts. Do you see how let them is something different? Let them comes from a deep place of knowing who you are, comes from a deep place of trust. Yeah, people leave. They will walk out of your life and let them. But here's the tricky part. Don't do it with resentment attached. Well, that's always the hard work, isn't it? Do you know it was not too long ago when I shared with y'all, because I was a guest storyteller. I was the one being the guest storyteller. You might remember a few months back, Drew interviewed me with Carrie's help, and she told him to ask me some really hard questions. Thank you, Carrie. So I was the guest storyteller, and I shared with y'all that it was 7 years ago now that my stepdad walked out of my life. He'd been in my life since I was 6 years old, a real father figure to me. My kids called him Pawpaw. And after a 30-year marriage to my mom, who's a great hero in my life, well, he decided he'd found someone else. And I'll never forget talking to him on that Tuesday night. And I'll never forget what he said to me. He dropped a line on me, and I'll never forget it. He says on the phone, he says, Ryan, I just can't explain it to you, but it's just so magical. And do you know what my first thought was? Magical? No, dude, you are deeply confused. Let me tell you about magic. It is magical to stay in the life of your kids. It is magical, from what I hear, to show up to be a grandfather to the kids who call you Pawpaw. That's pretty magical. Don't confuse it. Don't try to tell me it's magical, something magical about infidelity. And do you know, I haven't heard from him since that day. Haven't talked to him, haven't seen him. I can tell you it was a very painful time in my life. I was angry, I was hurt, and this weird thing happened to me. For so long, I didn't know how to talk about it. Because, and I would have told you this is crazy that it happened, but it had a way of bringing up shame in me. It had a way of bringing me back to that 5-year-old self, exactly how I felt as a 5-year-old. And it was very confusing up here because the truth is he didn't die. But it felt like a death. I mean, I knew he was roaming around somewhere, breathing the same air I'm breathing, but he didn't die. And I could tell you on some level, physical death would have been easier. And there I was, a grown man in recovery, 5 years sober, asking the same questions I was asking as a 5-year-old. Maybe I'm not good enough as a son. Yeah, people can just walk out on you. And maybe I should have tried to do more to try to convince him of why it would be a worthwhile endeavor to stay. Maybe I should try to convince him more, and why didn't I do more? And I also shared with you that last year when I was seeing my therapist, I was talking to him about this, and he says, Ryan, I want you to write a letter to him. And I thought, I'm done with the letters. I did some letters in my 9th step, and I don't want to do any more letters, man. I'm done with that. And so I wrote the letter. I wrote it on a Sunday, and it took me 8 hours, and some of you would say I'm a slow writer, and it may be true. I wrote the letter, and in this letter, I was honest. I got my feelings out. I stated how it affected me, and I also knew enough at this point in my life, I mean, this was just last year, I knew enough that I didn't want to write from a place of resentment because this was about my healing, and I wanted healing. And I know that if it's rooted in resentment, it never leads to healing. It leads to the exact opposite place. And in my experience, I know enough that gratitude is the best way to counter resentment. And some of y'all know that gratitude isn't always easy. I mean, sometimes it's easy. We can just get out the phone and make our gratitude list in the morning, all the things we're grateful for. And if you do that, I'm not knocking it. Keep doing it. It's a good thing. But sometimes what I know is you have to intentionally choose gratitude, even when everything else in your body is saying to choose something else. Choose the opposite. And so I chose very intentionally to end my letter with gratitude. And I'll share with you how I ended the letter. I will not share the letter in its entirety with you, but here's how I ended it. Thank you for coming into my life when I was just a little 6-year-old boy who didn't know how to make sense of the world. Thank you for teaching me about hard work and discipline and God. Thank you for your patience when I was learning how to wakeboard. It took many falls and many getting back up again. Thank you for being there in Brandon, my brother's death. You were a stronghold for me for many years. When I told you I was an alcoholic and I was getting help to get sober, you supported me. I've been sober for almost 12 years now, and for this, I am filled with profound gratitude. Today, I get to be the best possible version of myself. Today, I get to be the best possible husband, pops, pastor, and friend. Thank you for taking time to read this letter. Tonight I will pray for your peace and mine, for I've come to believe that inner peace is truly the greatest gift we can receive in this life. Sincerely, Ryan. I wrote that letter on a Sunday, and on Monday I went to see my therapist, and he invited me to read the letter to him in its entirety. And I finished reading the letter, and when I got done, he said, man, that was good. Now I want you to send it to him. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, man, I feel a little bit tricked here because I thought this was for me and just to get it out, and this was about my healing. He said, it was for you. Now I want you to send it to him. And do you know, before I put that letter in the mailbox, I had to ask myself some very serious questions, honest ones. I had to ask myself, Ryan, are you going to be okay if you put this in the mailbox and you get nothing in return? If there is no response from him, are you going to be okay? And I was able to answer yes to that question in here. So I put the letter in the mailbox back in November on Thanksgiving Day. And if you're wondering, no, I got no response. I didn't hear from him. And truly, it's okay. It's okay. Do you know what I got in return? In return, I was given my inner peace. Do you know I was honest and I kept my integrity? Hard things to do. I was honest with my feelings and I kept my integrity, which means I don't have to go back and make a 9th step amends because of some of the things I said. I kept my integrity. And today I am able to see that his decision, and it was his decision, it does not determine my worth. Do you see how it's let them, not F them? You do not have to chase them. You do not have to convince them. You do not have to spiral in shame. Are you able to let them without attaching resentment to it? And do y'all know what I think we do sometimes? Sometimes what we do to protect ourselves, because we are still addicted to getting rid of pain, avoiding the pain. So to protect ourselves from pain, we say things like, well, God did this. Yeah, God did this. They're a bad person, and I'm a good person, and God removed them from me, so God did this, and God is protecting me. And do you ever notice in the moment that feels good to say, it might even make you look a little pious, a little spiritual, it might make you look self-righteous, and it feels good? Yeah, they're bad, I'm good, God loves me. It's kind of like this meme that gets, it's been floating around social media for quite some time, and maybe you've seen it or a rendition of it. It says, sometimes God will remove people from your life to protect you, don't chase them. And on the face of it, that looks really good, especially that last line, don't chase them. But let's just get honest with each other for a moment. Isn't it interesting that when you are reading this, you are never the one being removed so that other people can be protected from you? I mean, isn't it interesting? It gets shared with comments like, yup, amen, yeah, that's me. Oh, hold on, let's keep going. Isn't it interesting? In a room full, and online people too, a room full of addicts and alcoholics and loved ones of addicts and alcoholics who know how to create some chaos in the world, cause some harm. Isn't it interesting? You are never the one being, they're always the one being removed from you, never the other way around. Come on now, are we being honest? Or that really popular meme that goes around, and I've seen some renditions of it too. It says something like, you didn't get that opportunity, you didn't get that job because God was protecting you from them. Maybe you didn't get that job, if you believe in this theology anyway, you didn't get that job because God was protecting them from you. Have you ever stopped to consider? Now, let's keep pushing it just a moment because I think this thing has got all kinds of theological flaws in it. Yeah, this image of a God who just kind of stands above us, hovering up there somewhere, moving all the checker pieces. Of course, for our benefit. It's always for our benefit. It seems to be a God who is plagued by immaturity, a God who is plagued by mismanaged priorities. Because if God is just up there somewhere pulling all the strings, rearranging the checkers, well, doesn't it just raise some very basic questions for you? I mean, think about it. Like, God, if you're going to start moving some checker pieces, could you at least move some of the pieces so that the kids in Gaza could get some bread? No, Pastor, we don't like those people. No, they're Palestinians. They're terrorists. I mean, come on, God. If you're going to start moving some checker pieces, could you at least move some of the pieces so that some of the bombs stop falling on Ukraine and Russia? No, Pastor, you got to tell us which side to choose. Whose side are we on? I don't know why I'm whispering. But do you see? I mentioned this to you all to say we humans, we have free will. We have free will, and in my limited understanding of theology, God cannot overstep the free will of humanity. And some of you are going to be bothered by that, especially you're bothered by that word cannot. And you say, no, Ryan, did you mean to say God won't or God will not? No. In my understanding, God cannot overstep free will of humanity, which means you and I, we are capable of creating tremendous amount of good in the world and healing in the world, which also means you and I, we are capable of creating a tremendous amount of harm and destruction in the world, which also means people can come into your life and they can walk out of your life and you get no explanation. And isn't it interesting? The image of God that we are given in this parable that Jesus tells about a father and two sons, it's called the prodigal son story, many people call it. Isn't it interesting, this image of God that we are given? And by the way, this is found in Luke chapter 15. It's a foundational story for us here at Free. And we generally focus on the end of the story. And I think the ending is great, but sometimes we forget how it begins. Do you remember the story? Remember, there's a father who, by the way, represents God in the story. There's many images for God in the scriptures. This one uses the image of father. And there's two sons, and the younger son comes to the father and says, Pops, I want my share of the inheritance, which is just like saying, Pops, I wish you were dead so I could have the money. The father says, here, take the money. It's yours. And the son takes it, and he goes off to this distant land, and he squanders it on scandalous living. And things get really bad. And the son, he says, there's this dialogue like, man, what I would do to go back home and be with Pops. But shame starts to creep up, and he says, man, I could never go back. Man, once he figures out the things I've been doing and where I've been, he'll never take me back. But he hits a bottom. Things get bad enough. And so he starts to make his journey home. Do you remember what the text says? While he was still a long way off, Pops runs out the front door to the end of the driveway, greets him, gives him a big bear hug, and he says, welcome home, my boy. We're going to celebrate. We're going to throw a party. And the son says, man, Pops, if you knew where I was, if you knew the things I was doing, you would know I'm not worthy to be called your son. And he says, nonsense, and they throw a party. That's how the story ends. And the older brother, remember, he's standing outside and he's pouting. He's like, man, why does he always get these things? And the father looks at him and says, don't you know, everything I have has always been yours. Everything I have is yours. But don't forget how the story starts. Look at this image of God we are given. Check it out. Jesus continued. By the way, when Jesus would tell a parable, a short story, it was always a way of saying, you want to know what God's like? You're asking what God is like. You want to know what God's like? Right here. There was a man who had two sons. The younger son said to his father, Father, give me my share of the inheritance. So what did he do? The father, divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. Notice, the father, God, lets the son go. There is no begging. There's no manipulating. There's no convincing. There's no, don't you see how good you have it? Don't you see everything is yours? Don't you see how good I am to you? There's no convincing. What's the father give? Total freedom. Yeah, here. Yeah, here's your life. What are you going to do with it? It's almost like God knows God's worth, and God isn't going to try to convince him how good it is. You see, in recovery, we have to come to terms with, we have to admit that we are powerless over a substance. But we also have to do something else. We have to come to terms with, we have to admit that we are also powerless over people. Which means that we cannot control them, we cannot change them, we cannot fix them. When they walk out of your life, whether it's a friend or a family member or a significant other or a coworker, when they walk out of your life, what are you going to do? I mean, seriously, what are you going to do? Are you going to chase them? You're going to chase him and try to convince him that, man, I really am a good person. Please stay. Don't you understand? My worth is wrapped up in you. Are you going to cop a resentment? Man, F them. I never needed them anyway. I never liked them anyway. That'll protect you. Are you going to blame God? Yeah, God's just protecting me, removing other people, protecting me so that I never have to really do any reflection. I never have to do any real self-examination. Or are you going to let them? While keeping your integrity and your dignity, because their decision has nothing to do with your worth. And listen, y'all, I know it's painful. I know it's disappointing. I know you didn't expect it. If you expected it, if you knew it was going to happen, you maybe would have done some things differently. But this idea of a God who just is up there somewhere pulling the strings to control people, places, and things, I find it very unmoving. And frankly, I find it not very powerful at all. I mean, maybe the real power of God is found in how you handle it when they leave. That the real power is you didn't completely lose your shit or your sobriety when they left. You let them. And if you are a person in recovery, I would say to you, the best form of recovery, The best form is when you open yourself enough to let God in enough to fundamentally change you as a person and how you respond and react in the world. Do you know, just earlier this week, I was sitting in a 12-step meeting, and the topic was, in your recovery, when did you notice that you were changed, or when did you notice you were changing? And I think my first response to that is, well, oftentimes we're bad judges of that, because I'm going to get 30 days sober and try to convince you that I'm a changed man. I'm a changed woman, 30 days. Oftentimes, it's the people around us, the people who know us best, the people who love us most. They are the best judges of us changing. Let them tell you, let them tell other people how you've changed. Don't ever get in that business for yourself. Do you know, on that Tuesday night when I was talking to my dad, my stepdad, and he was telling me he was leaving, it was very painful. I was in our bedroom and the door was closed. I was in there alone. And when I hung up the phone, I knew it was the death of a relationship. And I don't know if you've ever had this happen, but my knees just started to shake a little bit. My legs gave out, and I landed on my bed. And when I hit my bed, I was just weeping. Just weeping. And what I didn't know was Tammy, my wife, was right outside the door listening to the conversation, which, by the way, is totally fine. And she comes in the room, and she sits down next to me, and she puts her arm around me. And you know what she said? She says, "You've changed." And I said, "What do you mean? What are you even talking about? I've changed." And she says, "That's the calmest I've ever seen you. And I was so scared of how angry you were going to be." And she says, "You've changed." And she says, "Look around. We don't have any drywall repair to do. There's not one hole in the wall." I mean, you want to talk about God's power? That is real power flowing in me, this reordering of my reactions, this reordering of my response, a God doing for me what I could never, ever do for myself. You see, when they leave, let them, because you know who you are. Let them leave because you know your worth, and pay very close attention to God's power that is at work within you. And I'll close with this. There's a letter in the New Testament. It's called Ephesians. And the author of Ephesians was writing to his people in the first century, writing to his people in the ancient city of Ephesus. And in the middle of this letter, there's this lengthy prayer. And he ends his prayer with this sort of blessing to his people. And he says it in one line. Check it out. Yeah. "Now to the God who is able to do immeasurably more than all we could ask or imagine, according to God's power that is at work within us." Yeah, where in your life do you need God to change you? And I know sometimes you feel so hopeless, and yet God can do more in you than you could ever imagine or dream of. Where in your life do you need to realize that there is this power, this energy, it's flowing in you and through you and all around you, and you actually get to tap into this divine energy that is flowing? You see, maybe tonight you just need to be brought back to a center place of remembering who you are, remembering who God is, and that your worth and how you react, how you respond, how you behave in the world cannot be dependent on them. So here's what we'll do. We're going to hear a song together. The song is called Indigo by Sam Barber. Love this song. And during this song, I mean, this time is yours. You can feel free to just sit and reflect if you're at home. Sit and reflect. Or if you'd like to come up to the stage, some of you might call it an altar. Well, we have these common lies printed on little pieces of paper. These common lies that we tell ourselves. There's 6 of them up here, 6 on this side, 6 on this side. They're the same, by the way. Like this one says, "I have to fix it." Others say, "I'm not good enough. Maybe I should have done more. Maybe I should chase him." If you want to come and take a look at these lives and see if one resonates with you, maybe more than one resonates with you, just grab them. Now, don't take it with you, though. That'd be a brutal thing to do to yourself. Don't carry this with you. Just simply rip it up and put it in this little basket up here. Get rid of it, and we'll get rid of all of them at the end of the evening. So during this time, you can sit and reflect, or you can come up here, but this time is yours.
guys for participating in that, like getting to see all you in front of everyone, to be able to release that, and that we don't have to do this together, right? Like we don't have to hold on to this. It's just such a beautiful community that we have, and I love it so, so much. And one of my most favorite parts is, not that I don't love Ryan's message, but I love to hear from you guys. And each and every Saturday, we get to ask one of our community members to join us up in the living room to share their personal experience with the topic at hand. This week, I am so beyond giddy to introduce you to who this person is. She is a dear friend of mine. We met in the rooms of 12-step recovery, and we have formed a relationship based on our love for exploring who God is in our lives. And both of us came in with a very skewed perception of God and a higher power, and we had no idea what we were doing. And we still meet regularly. We have coffee together. We literally, all we talk about is God and how our lives are changing and what does it look like today. And she is just an amazing human being that I cannot wait for you guys to get to know. Please help me welcome my friend Erin up to the living room. How about we just pretend we're at our little coffee shop?
Okay.
No one else is out there.
Okay.
No one's watching online.
I would love that.
Okay, right? We're here.
Yes.
We got this.
It's funny because I did this earlier and I'm like, why is my heart still pounding?
Well, and now the internet's watching.
Why would you say that? That's not fun.
Love you.
I love you too.
And it's amazingly brave that you get to come up and do this. And what I love so much is I want to start with, let's talk about God, because I feel like that's what we do best. Mm-hmm. And I want to specifically start your story with, what did it look like in active addiction to be so far away from a higher power and to be so far away from knowing self-worth?
Yeah. Very, very dark. I love that song because they talk about being dead and alone, and I definitely felt that. I had such a self-perception of being the worst person in the world for, not being perfect enough, not meeting expectations, not meeting the standards I set for myself. I'd write lists, especially after a day of drinking where it was like, be better, be better. Here's how you be better, be better. And there's no space for God. There's no space for love. There's no space for compassion, grace, anything within those lines. And I just really had no connection because of that, and no God. And after getting in recovery and doing some kind of work and understanding myself, I understood that from a subconscious level, God was something that had a scoreboard. And so anytime I did anything negative or something I perceived negative, and I was talking to some people earlier about like how things can be defined in really specific ways and not necessarily be a caring and loving definition. So that was where my definition really was detrimental, but God would keep score. And so I became very, very scared of that. And I felt like I was being constantly watched and judged. And so I became very small in response, because if God judges me, then of course you judge me. And then I judge me, and then I judge you. And ultimately, that's not a very good place to live. So God didn't really exist much in my life outside of keeping score, judging me, and making me feel like I deserve to be small.
And I'm sure tons of people can relate to that. And then I want to start, when you entered into recovery, and specifically 12-step recovery, where they tell you that it is suggested that you find a higher power of your own understanding, who not only do you have this conception, but then you're going to make a decision to turn your will and your life over to this higher power. Mm-hmm. How did it start shifting for you to finding a loving higher power that would actually work for you, and not one who was sitting there with the tally marks judging every single decision you made?
Yeah. So the first time I went through my steps, I went through them very logically, and I didn't really touch God for a year of recovery. I didn't really think I was that alcoholic. Definitely not as alcoholic as all of you, which is not true. And I remember reading a memoir by this woman named Mary Carr, and it's her recovery memoir called Lit, and it talks about prayer. And of course, people talk about prayer all the times in the rooms. Get on your knees. That's one of the main kind of suggestions you should take. But she just spoke about or wrote about it in a specific way. And I was in my room alone, and all of a sudden I was thinking, like, who's watching? Like, who's actually here? Who's actually watching? And I give this to God because it was like, I thankfully, instead of like having that fear response, I was like, no one. And so what would it hurt? What would it hurt to get on my knees and pray? So I did, and for the first time in my entire life, I laid everything at the feet of a being I had yet to even meet. This was our first meeting, and I was honest in a way I'd never been before, even with my sponsor, because it wasn't so much of like the four-step and my part. It was all the things my heart craved. It was all the things my heart still held fear over. It was all the things my heart was like, you don't deserve that. I'm like, who do you think you are? These people don't think you're anything. Like, why do you think you deserve anything? And I laid that at God's feet, and I said, like, I don't know what to do with this, but I know I don't want to live this way anymore. And I was met with peace, and that's never happened before either. And so I continued that journey, but that was that first meeting, that first growth of a relationship with something higher than myself, in a very intimate way. And I like to talk to my sponsees about the relationship with God being similar to a relationship with any other human being. Like, if you have a boyfriend and girlfriend and you're talking to them once a month, it's probably not the best relationship. Probably needs some work. And the same is true for God. If I'm talking to God, once a month, or if I'm only going to God and I'm saying, please save me from this pain, like, it's kind of a using relationship. So it's not just like I want God to know me, and I want God to know me. I want God to see me. I want to know that even when I make mistakes, God sees me and says, I know your heart, and I know you didn't mean to do that, and you're doing the best you can. But I also need to know God. I need to know that God exists in a compassionate, forgiving, loving, understanding way, that it isn't that judgmental force that's just looking at me as like a tiny little bug to squash or a marionette.
Are you ready to go a little bit deeper?
Oh, I love going deeper.
Are you ready? So I want to talk about, so again, it's really easy. God is real easy to have a relationship when it's just us, right? Like, it's so easy to like think that all is well. And when we start getting into the dating world and we start allowing people to come into our lives and we start having community and friends, and we actually now have to have a God who's big enough to hold all of that. How did you start your dating in sobriety, and how did you let God walk you through that?
Yeah, because of my relationship with God and because of how small I was in my in my addiction, I didn't have a lot of relationships. I had like one boyfriend for 4 months, and so coming into recovery, I fell in love. But it's so interesting because I knew that I wanted to love differently, the way I wanted to do life differently in recovery. I didn't know how. Like, I didn't have models for that. I didn't have anything to like kind of look to. And so I really had to search for that. I had to teach myself what is loving somebody else, what is being selfless, what is service in a different capacity to a partner. And also too, I had to face myself. I went on a trip with this guy I was falling in love with, and I was confronted with all my fear, all my shame, all my like how I showed up in the world impacted our relationship, how it could create walls that were detrimental. And so I called my mom, and I remember after this trip just feeling so distraught. And the thing I said, or I asked her, I was like, I'm so tired of trying to prove that I'm worth loving. And her first response was, God loves you just as you are. And that wrecked me. I went home and I cried, I want to say, for 7 hours because I'd never let that in. There had always been this protective force, whether that be humor or whether that be intellect or what have you, all these protective things that have kept kind of that, because I didn't want to believe it. I didn't really want like that to be true, because then what happens when that's true? That's a void I've never been in. That's something, everyone talks about it as like a good thing. I'm like, I'm terrified. I don't know how to control things there. I don't know how to do I can't do my old things there. And the only thing that I found that exists in that space is God for me. Because I have to have faith, because it's through that, what I perceive as darkness, to get to what I think my heart is created for, is connection. I mean, I learned that in recovery. But I had to rely on God, and I love this phrase of God puts me in places or situations where he is the only thing I can rely on. And that can be both good or bad, because healing can be really painful. And so I relied on God and saw me through, and that person ended up, unfortunately, cheating. And, in that, him telling me he had cheated on me and got another girl pregnant, he's looking at me like, why aren't you yelling? Why aren't you throwing things? And I just looked at him, I'm like, that's not who I am. And I am that person who can sit there with him, hold space for him and all of his wounding, and have grace and compassion and mercy and forgiveness. I had forgiveness for him. I could see him. I was like, I forgive you. It doesn't excuse the behavior, but that's not addict me. That is me having recovery, knowing God, leaning on faith that this actually has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to say about who I am. Actually, what has to do with me and what has to do with what I am is how I'm reacting right now. And at the end of the day, he did leave, and it broke my heart. Yeah, she knows. It broke my heart, but I can look back and say thank you to God, because he gave me an opportunity to show me who I am, and that's the most invaluable lesson.
Do you guys see why I love her so much and why I love talking, having these conversations? Because this is all the time that we get to do this. But what I want to specifically hear from you is, so obviously they can leave. We can do all the right things. The scorecard looks beautiful, right? And they can still leave. And how can you be okay in the waiting for the next person or the right person? Or how can you be okay knowing that you are a child of God and a woman of worth when there's nobody else around you telling you that you are?
Oh, because God's around me. And God is for me in everything and everyone. I can be in nature and feel God in the breeze. I can be sitting with a friend and having coffee and suddenly being given enlightenment, or just a friendly smile, your eyes are twinkling, you're beautiful. That's God to me. And so as much as I yearn for certain things, having recovered and having been in a place in my addiction where I never thought I'd have the chance of love. That wasn't even an option for me. For that to have happened and been a gift, I'm in gratitude. I never thought that would happen, and now I'm just so grateful that it did. Even if it ended in pain, even if it ended in grief, I got to do that. That's the gift of this, recovery, and God is just that, I get opportunity for things that, I never thought were possible. And that's what sustains me, is because I'm a person of God, and God shows up in different ways, and maybe it's not that person, but I have faith that where I am going will help others, and what I do in this world will serve a purpose. And that is the greatest gift of all.
I hope you all get to know her after, or throughout the community. If you see her, connect with her, get to know her. She is just a phenomenal, such a blessing to have you as a friend. I do want to close with one final question. To the person who's out there, perhaps they were us pre-recovery, and they're like, yeah, I hear you talk about God, and I'm like, oh, God's so amazing. But what about that old version of Erin who didn't believe the words that you're saying? What about that person who's out there who's like, I don't know what you mean by a loving God, and they're still in that struggle of, I don't even know how to take the first step, because if you knew what I did, you would know I'm unqualified to be loved by God. How do you suggest someone makes that very teeny tiny first step to start finding a higher power of their own understanding that can hold them?
Okay. I kind of think about like the first time that I like let God in, which was right before I stepped in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, which was like kind of the idea of like, if I'm the problem, and that doesn't mean like problematic necessarily, it's just like my life is not going the right way. Like something is wrong. I feel wrong. I feel broken. Like if that's true, I can't be the solution. Something else out there has to be the solution. And so like every single step of the way, like I apply that thinking as like, there's something else out there. It might just be somebody sitting next to me or a random person on the street, but like there's a force that's greater than myself. And one of the things that helped me get through grief was like just knowing that there was something saying like, take one more step, just one more step. Yeah. Just take one more step. And sometimes that one step is so freaking hard, but I can do one step. I can do one step. So I just do one step. So I would just say to the person, just take one more step. Just take one more step towards healing.
And there are people out there who want to have coffee with you and talk about God. So that's pretty cool. Can you guys please give Erin a round of applause? Thank you, Erin.
Line power with do. Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Carrie. Let me know when the next coffee time is, and I'll join you, because I never got the invitation. Okay, maybe I won't. Ryan, thank you for joining us tonight too, dude. So good. So good. You can see more of him at Sober Open Mic Nights and the poetry class on fourth Wednesday of each month. And thank you, Erin, for sharing your story with us. All right, y'all, the way we close down here on a Saturday night is very similar to how we begin. We begin with celebrations, the happy, the joy, and then we close with the heartaches, because sometimes what we do is we try to carry all these burdens. We try to carry them by ourselves, try to do it alone. And you find out somewhere along the way you suck at carrying these burdens alone. You don't have to. It's why you have community. It's why we have a God who hears the cries of the people. So we take 3 minutes for this. If you need some prayer, some lifting up, some encouragement, if you've been carrying something, that's what this time is for. If you're online, drop your heartaches in Facebook comments or the YouTube comments, whichever platform you're joining us from. If you're in-house, Layla has a mic on this side. Shua has a mic on this side. Let's take 3 minutes.
My name is Layla. If we could just pray for my friend Rodney. He was just here at Free tonight and had to leave, which he thought was a great message. His friend Jessica, who was trying to get her to come here, she's 6 months pregnant, took off walking when he pulled up, and she was smoking fentanyl. So if we could please pray for her and for him.
Yeah, prayers for Rodney and Jessica. All right, thank you, Layla.
Yeah, my name is Sai. I'd just like to say a prayer for a friend of mine, Curtis. He made it here last week, and he was going to come this week, but his son got pertussis, whooping cough, and so they're in the hospital tonight. So let's just say a prayer for him and his son, Emerson.
Yeah, lifting him up in his son. Thank you, Sai.
Just pray for my daughter, Demi. She's still very deep in her addiction. So I don't know where she's at.
Prayers for you too, you and Demi. Glad you're here.
Prayers for my Let Them friend, who I wasn't actually going to say anything about, but his name is Curtis too, from like 2 shares ago. So my friend Curtis, that maybe God's protecting him from me, if that's bad theology. I'll keep working on that.
Next
Thank
week I might say something different. I don't know, but I hear you, ma'am. Prayers for you and him.
Hey, I got two. One is for Allison Clausen. She was recently diagnosed with cancer, so for her and her family, and it's pretty bad. And so pray for him and my friend David, and their daughter Jade. And also I'd like to pray for my brother-in-law's mother, Sandy. She's needing surgery. She's elderly. Should be pretty simple, but I hope for a speedy recovery on her.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark, lifting them up tonight, man. Glad you're here. Anyone else?
This is Stephen. I just want to pray for all my brothers and sisters who are going to be on their way back from a big ride with the Sober Souls. Let them make it home safe.
Yeah. Sober souls, lifting them up tonight. Safe travels. Thank you, Steve. All right, thank you, Layla. Shua, you gonna join me up here, dude? Now, I was telling Shua earlier, my boy Breck, we're trying to get him to cut his hair, and I said, you got to see my friend Shua hair. Your hair would look good like that. So, did you see him tonight? No. All right, you'll see him this week if you're here. I'll bring him back. All right, sorry, I made it awkward, didn't I? Let's not make it awkward. Let's just join our online people together, shall we? You wanna take the first one? Yeah. Okay.
This is for Tony. Prayers to Corey and Paul. They both relapsed on Thursday. So we'll pray for you,
Tony,
Tony.
lifting them up, dude. Yeah. Mike says, this is a blessing in disguise. I fell and broke 2 ribs. Bad news. Good news, I'm being forced to hit the brakes, slow down, and concentrate on recovery. Yeah, blessing in disguise, maybe. Mike, prayers for you, brother. Glad you're joining us tonight.
This is Roger Weishart. Please pray for myself and Linda. We are traveling to Glacier National Park tomorrow for my son's wedding.
All right. Safe travels, Roger and Linda. Enjoy it, man. Stephen says, please pray for Elise. Multiple issues, both drug and mental health related. Pray she will find hope and peace in order to heal. Stephen, we're lifting up Elise tonight. Prayers for her, and glad you're joining us tonight. Shua, thank you for joining me up here, brother. Come on, give me some sugar.
Buddy, buddy.
Yeah. All right, brother. All right, y'all. Hey, if you have been impacted by the mission here of breaking the silence of addiction, creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. If you call this place home, if this is your people, if this is your community, well, you should know that we do rely upon your generous giving here. Your giving, well, put it this way, we are funded by you, the people. So each week we love to tell you thank you, and we truly mean it. Your giving makes a great deal of difference here. If you'd like to donate to Free, there's a couple of different ways to do it. You can download the app, the Free Recovery Community app. It is free to download. All of our content's on there. Guest Storytellers are all on there. There's a giving button, and you can give once or weekly or monthly, however you set it up. We're grateful for all of it. You can do the same thing on the website, freerecoverycommunity.com. Or there's, for you check and cash type people, there's 2 giving kiosks, one outside these doors, one outside these doors. And there is the Kind kiosk. It's just on the other side of these doors. It's the one-tap system. You just, like Apple Pay, the one-tap. It's a simple, easy, safe way to give. And seriously, y'all, we're really grateful for it. And listen, online people, I know many of you give and you've never stepped foot in here, but we are your people. This is your community. And just know we're really grateful for it. It makes a big difference here. Thank you for being a part of it. Shall we go out with a prayer? Yes, I think we should. I would encourage you to just open up a little bit. Open the palms if you're comfortable with that. Yeah, take a big deep breath in. And hold it. Yeah. The Hebrew word for that is ruach, the God breath, the breath that is breathing life in us, through us, and all around us constantly. This divine energy that we get to, like I said earlier, tap into. So take a moment and tap in. If you don't know the Serenity Prayer, it's on your screen. We'll pray it together. It goes like this. God, Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Grace and peace to you all. See you next time.